Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into untapped learning. My guest today is Brandon Slade. He is the founder and CIO of Untapped Learning, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so usually I start my guests where they went to college. So where'd you go to school?
I went to Wittenberg University in Ohio. It was a great athletic university, and it was exactly what I was looking for and what I needed at that stage of my life. And I had the best experience there.
So let's just go back in time before we get started. In high school, when did you start thinking about going to college? Was it freshman year of high school, senior year? How did it all start for you?
It's interesting because I actually come from a family where my dad owns a glass company, and so we're more of a blue collar type family. And I didn't know college was for me specifically. I thought I may get into that realm, and then I started getting into athletics and football, and then that just became clear that that's something that I wanted to continue.
Oh, fantastic. So now, uh, when did you end up just picking the school and going to school?
It was my senior year, so I explored a lot of options, and I'm someone who struggled with grades significantly. I have pretty severe ADHD, and so I had to find a school that worked for me and had the support that I needed from the athletic and the academic side. And so those struggles turned into a huge gift later on. But I was a hot mess at that stage in life for sure.
So now you're at college. So give us a sense of what the college was like, how you liked it, what actually happened there. Just give us a sense of your college career.
So I was so fortunate to have the staff that I had there that looked out for me because so much of what we do at Untapped is helping students with the transition. And I left Colorado and went out to Ohio, and I just fell apart. With my ADHD, I couldn't manage the academic with the athletic, with the social, and just really struggled with these executive function skills. And um, I was very fortunate that I had people who were patient with me there and gave me two pats on the back and one kick in the tail, a lot of love and a lot of accountability, and was able to get me through that process. But I had a difficult transition due to my own doing and due to my own skills, but it built up a ton of character and it gave me the skills I needed.
Okay. So now you go from college to becoming a founder and CIO of Untapped Learning. How does that go about?
Definitely wasn't a smooth process by any means. So I was able to make it through college eventually. It was a struggle. And then I taught special education, worked in the foster care system for a long time, for about 12-ish years, and then also became a school psychologist. And on the side, I thought I would just mentor a few kids who were having difficulty with either the transition from middle school to high school in these skills or high school to college. And then it just it kind of took off from there. Yeah, so we started with primarily ADHD, and now we work with students all across the country building up what are called executive function skills.
So now let's get into Untapped Learning. What is the company? How does it go about? And what do you actually do?
Yeah, so I'll start with college students. For our college students, we meet with them twice per week. So we meet with them at the very beginning, and that's setting up, planning, and organizing their weeks. So our core focus is executive function skills, and most people associate that with ADHD, but it's all types of students. And so your executive function skills are the skills that help you be independent and reach your goals. So things like time management, fighting off procrastination, knowing how you learn, things that like that. And it's the number one indicator of success in college is how developed your executive function skills are. And so we'll meet with students at the beginning of the week, outline the week, review the week before, figure out what we need to do to be successful and reach our goals this week. And then we'll meet with them again at the end of the week. And that's our accountability meeting. Did we do what we needed to do? Were there any problems that popped up? Maybe we'll role play how to talk to a professor. We'll talk about how, maybe our time management was off, how we can implement habits and routines and systems to improve that. And so we're consistently working on these executive function skills with quick feedback loops. And then once our students get it, they launch and they take off.
Gotcha. So now, how do you go about finding your students? How do they find you?
So they reach out to us. then they reach out to us. So we work with students at about 40 different universities right now. And that's our college program. We also have a middle school, high school program that's located in Colorado, where we have a warehouse with a football field, and we learn with kids through movement while working on these executive function skills and mindfulness and yoga. And we try to create a holistic lifestyle for them where they can thrive. And so that's what we do in Colorado. People reach out to us here, and then we have people reach out to us nationally to work with students across the country. And then one final piece is that we collaborate with universities for professional development or working with students. So an example would be at University of Colorado Boulder. We did a yoga session where we collaborated with Lululemon, where we put students through 60 minutes of yoga, and then we worked on their executive function and study skills right after. And so it was more likely to sink in, and our students weren't defensive. So we do a lot of events like that as well.
So now, what are some of the skills? You said executive functions. Is it strategy? Is it study habits? What is it actually doing?
Yeah, great question. So your executive function skills, like I said, are the skills that help you reach your goals. So it helps you take this whole big thing of college and break it down into manageable daily steps and keep you on task. So the executive function skills, like I said, so time management. So work with students on how they manage their time, especially going from the structure of home to the unstructure of college campus. So it helps with that. Helps with things like maintaining attention and building out a lifestyle that works for you. There's a part of the executive function called metacognition. The people who understand themselves and the college students who understand themselves do very well. And people like me just didn't understand how we learned yet. So we're helping students build out a weekly plan, stay disciplined, stay accountable, and build out a lifestyle that works for them while giving them a lot of love and a lot of accountability.
So now, when you're doing this, is everything done online? Are they learning it online, or do you actually go somewhere, or how does it actually all work for you?
Yeah, if we're on a couple campuses, and so most of them are in the Rocky Mountain region, and then we'll meet our kids on campus twice per week. If it is remotely at a campus we're not at, then we will do a Zoom, and we'll meet, like, let's say on a Sunday or a Monday, and that's where we plan, organize, outline our week, and then we'll meet again virtually on a Thursday or a Friday as well.
And you follow them all throughout the 4 years of college? Is that how it works?
Some students, but most students just need help, whether they hit a bump in the road and they're maybe on academic probation or didn't have the semester they want, or a lot of people use us for this transition to college, especially when you're going, 1,000 miles from home. It can be
Yeah.
hard, especially if you do have an ADHD diagnosis and you have to start everything on your own without your parents' oversight. And so with a lot of students like that, we maybe will just see them for a year or a semester. And once they have the skills, and these are lifelong skills that transfer to jobs and different areas of your life, but once they build up these executive function skills, well, then they're good to go.
Are you also doing like public speaking, resume writing,
Yep.
essay writing? Do you do that kind of stuff as well?
Absolutely. Yep. Because all those tie into the goal, right? Maybe the goal is to get a job. Well, when you take that goal, it's your executive function skills that help you break down that goal into manageable steps and do everything throughout the process until you land that job. So that's resume writing, that's learning how to interview, that's learning how to communicate. There's a lot of little pieces to that goal, which so many of us who struggle, we just can't break down that goal and stay on track throughout the process.
So now the earliest you said is with people are middle school. So what's the age of middle school? Like 12,
Yeah,
11?
ish, 12, 13-ish. And the reason we start with middle school is because when middle school is when you start getting 6 to 7 different classes, and specifically, especially if you have an ADHD or dyslexia or something like that, that's when things start to fall apart because have all these assignments coming at you from different classes, and you have to be organized, which you didn't um, to be successful before then.
So now, by doing that, and then once you get into middle school, and then you go into the high school level age brackets, do you find that there's more boys or girls, or is it pretty equal on both sides?
What's crazy is that I started it for hyperactive ADHD, people like me. And that's very, very high amount of boys. A lot of them are athletes as well. And that's only a subset of our population. We still do have those kids, but we have a lot of, let's say, perfectionist students, students in a lot of AP classes who have so much to balance that the organization has to be so strong. Same thing when you get caught in a perfectionism stage. if you're caught and your anxiety ramps up, well, this is the part of the brain that essentially turns off. And so you need a coach or mentor can be really helpful for helping you see the big picture and breaking it down so you're not overwhelmed. So we're about 50-50 now, male and female. A lot of our hyperactive ADHD boys are still there, but we're seeing a lot of perfectionist students who are very intelligent, who just struggle with these skills at this stage in their life. And these are just skills.
And now you said athletes as well. Do you find a variety of different athletes, or is it mostly like football, basketball type athletes?
Great question. So we're actually one of our offices in a high achieving athletic complex. So just student athletes who most of them will go Division 1 for college, and they're very very good. And it's hard to balance school and sports and get the GPA that you need while making sure you get the number of free throws in and everything else. And so to balance that, we work with a lot of these students and to help them be successful and balance a rigorous athletic schedule. So we work with students in a bunch of different sports. For us, it doesn't matter the sport. What matters is they know their goal, and then we can help them get there.
Now, how about counselors or teachers? Is it basically you one-on-one, or is it classroom style? You get a bunch of people all together. How does that work?
Everything we do is one on one. So we have materials on our website that are designed for parents and maybe asynchronous courses. But when we're working with students, it just has to be one on one when you're working on building these skills.
And so, how many students do you usually bring in each year? Is it quite a number of students with a lot of different counselors?
Yeah, we have about anywhere from 300 or more different students who come in throughout the year. And some students and some families just like the accountability, and we're big on relationships because we ask our students to do hard things and build these skills. And so we invest in the relationship first. And so sometimes students want to stay longer, but being a former special education teacher, I'm terrified of learned helplessness. So once a student has the skills, I'm big on getting them out of the program until they're ready, because independence is an important thing as well to build executive function skills. But we bring in a couple hundred per year, but the goal is to staff them out because there's nothing wrong with these kids. Just like there was nothing wrong with me when I struggled. I just didn't have the skills I needed to be successful. I didn't know how to build out a life that worked for me.
Now, how many years do usually the students come to you? Is it usually just a short period of time, or are they there for a few years with you?
Most students, it's 1 to 2 years. Obviously, if you have a significant amount of ADHD, or you're at what I guess a big misconception we see is um, people think it's a remedial program. We work with the students at very high level universities. We'll work with students, at Ivy League universities who are just very busy. And a lot of them, your intelligence sometimes works against you. The fact that you've been so intelligent your entire life, a lot of our students in those situations haven't learned how to study and haven't learned how to build out a schedule because they've been smart enough to keep it all in their head. And then when they get to campus, they struggle. And so those are the students that we maybe see for a shorter time, teaching them how to set up systems and how to study, and then they can launch. And then someone who's maybe some more severely impacted, they may stay with us a little longer.
So now, how does a student find you? They just come to the website, they sign up on the website. Do they call you? How does it all work?
Yeah. That's a lot of doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists recommend us as well. Like if you get a diagnosis and you're struggling. But besides that, if a family's listening, you just come to our website and fill out a form, and we can let you know if we're a fit or not.
And how does that all work? Finding out that do they go through a series of tests?
Oh no, you just call our parent coordinator and talk us through the issue, and then we'll meet with your family, with you and your child, and we will see if there is a fit there. And usually there is, and especially for college students because they want to do well and they want to be independent, and they just need to build certain skills. And so often, this comes better from not being a parent as well. Right? We can often say things as parents will. All of our stuff is backed up by neuroscience, but a lot of parents know what they're doing as well. And it just comes better from someone who's more of a coach mentor type relationship in a way they haven't heard of it.
And how many different types of classes would you say do you work on one specific thing with them each time, or is it like when you meet the family the first time, are you giving the family different aspects of what the student has to look for, and then work on each one of those, or is it just one specific thing?
Yeah, great question. So All of our kids' programs are tailored just for them. Everything's individualized. Each program is different for each student. So when a family comes to us and let's say they're worried about launching from Colorado to New Jersey, and they're worried about that transition, and they'll go into like, okay, we're worried about time management, we're worried about self-care, we're worried about all these things. Then we'll build out a program that works for that student. So everyone's program is individualized just for them, but the same principles of neuroscience and building up this part of the brain apply.
Interesting. Well, we're coming to the end of our show, and usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the families and the students that are watching this? What advice you want to give them?
The one I always come back to is, if you struggle with these executive function skills, let's say you have ADHD, let's say you're running behind or you forget to turn in an assignment, people associate that with your character. They think that you're rude or you're lazy or you're disinterested. And I want to remind every student that there's nothing wrong with you. We just have brains that are built different. Now you have to figure out how to build out a lifestyle that works for you with specific routines, and we have hard work to do. But you're not broken, and this is not your character. These are just skills that can be built up like any other skills.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.